Hey everybody, and welcome back to a brand new video. So today we're going to be talking about non-destructive workflow and how creating a separate ambient occlusion pass using Arnold in Maya 2019 will help you to do that. This video has been made possible by Leidschendam, the creators of Keyshot. Okay everybody, so we're in Maya 2019 and we're going to be talking about a subscriber request that I received from Jim. Jim is working on his portfolio and he wants to have individual render passes on his model, basically to explain his workflow to potential customers and whatnot, right? So in this specific case, he asked me to demonstrate how to apply an ambient occlusion pass and render that out in Arnold. So that's what we're going to do. So what I did is I loaded up this rowboat, difficult word, that I modeled a while back, and I just made sure that this is one mesh, just to make things easier because I want to apply a shader to everything in one go. So I have my boat here, I have the floor down here. And for those of you who don't know what ambient occlusion is, basically we're talking about contact shadows. Now in real life you will have, let's say, objects that are sitting on a table. You'll have little dark edges underneath the object where there's no light hitting. In 3D you have to kind of fake that using ambient occlusion, right? And it kind of calculates light and how that drops off when it gets into areas that is in close proximity to other areas, like for example the bottom of the boat and the floor or the water, whatever that may be, right? Okay, so now that we have that, we have the boat as one object. Just click on everything, select everything, and go to Mesh and Combine, the easiest way. And then what we're going to do is we're going to right-click. We're going to go to Assign New Material. And then under Arnold, we're going to click on Arnold. We're going to look for a shader called AI Ambient Occlusion. Now, normally you would have the standard surface shader, in this case, Ambient Occlusion shader, right? So I'm going to select that. Now, you're not going to see a lot going on here. The only thing you see is that in my attribute editor, we now have a new tab called Ambient Occlusion 2, which is basically my shader tab, right? Now, just to show you that I have no lights in my scene whatsoever right now, I'm just going to hit 7 on my keyboard, and you'll see that if I click outside of the model, it's going to be completely dark. Now, why is that relevant? It's relevant because ambient occlusion doesn't need any light to calculate. It does that based on model proximity, like I said, right? So we have that selected, I have that shader selected, and we're simply going to go up to Arnold, right there, and we're going to click on Render, and because of the fact that there are no lights involved, you'll see that it will render quite fast, and I would say maybe something like 8 or 9 seconds or so, right? So let's give it a go. That was actually very fast. I think that was like maybe 1 or 2 seconds. It's still rendering, but pretty fast, right? Okay, so here we have our boat. Now, this would basically be an ambient occlusion pass, like so. However, you do have some control over this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a bit smaller. And let me just get that out of the way, like so. And zoom out a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into the attribute editor, and you can hit Control A to open that up, and we're going to go into that ambient occlusion 2 pass, right? Now, a bunch of things you can do here. First of all, if we go in here, you have the type. It says ambient occlusion right there, and you have all sorts of different shaders you can apply here. So if you wanted to have multiple layers rendered out, for example, to compile them in something like Photoshop or whatnot, you can do that. And next we're going to go into the samples. Now these are calculation samples for the ambient occlusion. And what I'll do is I'll increase that samples number. The rendering will take a bit longer, but you'll see that the ambient occlusion shadows or contact shadows will become better in quality, right? So let's set that up to maybe 6. And as we hit enter, you see it immediately updates and everything becomes a bit more crisper and darker. And I'll just get in a bit closer here so you can see that, right? Okay, so that's at 6. Let's go back to 3 and I'll update that again. And there you go. You can see it becomes a bit more grainy, right? Okay, so what about the spread here? Spread is set to 1. basically how far are the shadows spread out. So if I push this back, you'll see that the contrast goes way up and it starts to look very black and white, right? So there you go. And that is something you typically don't want. Let's keep this close to 1. But just so you know what that does, right? I'm actually setting it at exactly 1. Now the fall off is a whole different thing. The fall off is basically the opposite of fall off on light, where as light goes over a certain distance, you see that strength becomes less. If I push the fall off up, let's see what happens. You're losing your shadows altogether, right? So we're going to keep that nice and low, and actually I'll set it to 0 so you have nice visible shadows. Now you've got near and far clipping, and leave that alone. However, the white and black is kind of interesting. Now we have white in the areas where we don't have shadow, and we have black where we do have shadow. Now you can change the color of white. I wouldn't know why, but you can. You can go in here and turn that to red, for example, right? Or go back in and turn it to white. One of the reasons you might want to do that is if you, for example, have something in your portfolio where you have red, green, and blue, and you want several passes like that, RGB passes. But again, I wouldn't recommend it. And then the next one is the color of the actual contact shadows. Right now that's set to black. Now that is kind of interesting, because if you go in and set that to red, for example, you can see that the impacted area by these contact shadows is much bigger than just the actual shadows, right? So we're going to go back and set that to black. Set that to default. Here you have the option to invert the normals. Again, not sure why you would want to do that. Basically, you would effectively turn your complete model inside out and everything would become black. So just click on that. There you go. But again, maybe you have some very creative reason why you want to do that. And that is basically it, right? So like I said, not too hard, pretty straightforward. This is something you can do if you, for example, want to compile these in a non-destructive workflow in, let's say, Photoshop. So if you have a bunch of layers rendered out and the client is not happy with your ambient occlusion pass, you don't have to start all over again. You can just go in and re-render that specific layer and then compile it back into Photoshop, and you're good to go, right? So that's all there's to it. Thanks for watching this video. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell thing so you'll be notified. And thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye. Well, thanks for watching. And before you go, please hit that MH button to subscribe, okay? See you guys next time. Bye.